Hello, welcome to yet another problem solving video from BitSpace Education. Last time we solved problem J1 from the Canadian Computing Competition, or in short CCC. We did the J1 problem, which was the delivered right. Today we're going to solve problem J2, which is Junior 2 problem called chili peppers. So every problem has the same format. If you see, there's a problem description right here, and then there is an input specification and output specification. So let's look at the problem. So here, Ron is cooking chili using assortment of peppers. Peppers are basically allowed for adding chilliness to any dish that is made. And the spiciness of a pepper is measured in Scoville heat units. Look up SHU. This is pretty interesting. We should also look at which is the most or the spiciest pepper in the world. It's pretty interesting. But for this problem, Ron is currently his chili saying is not spicy at all. But each time Ron adds a pepper, the total spiciness of the chili increases by the SHU value of that pepper. And you can see the values given in this table here. So you see Poblano is 1500, Mirasol is 6000, and so on. And Habanero here is the spiciest of all. It's 125K, 125,000 SHU. And our job is to determine the total spiciness of Ron's chili after he has finished adding all the peppers. So the problem is asking us to just say how many peppers are added and add everything together and then output the total spiciness. So that's the problem. Let's look at the input specification. So the first line of the input contains a positive integer n representing the number of peppers Ron adds to his chili. So if you see here, sample input 4 means there are 4 chilies that are being added, 4 different peppers. The next n lines will contain the name of the pepper Ron has added. So in case first one is Poblano, and we know Poblano is 1500. Okay, let's keep reading. Each pepper name will exactly match a name that appears in the table above. So we don't need to worry about some things that are not in this table. Note that more than one pepper of the same name can be added. So for example, if you see Poblano has been added twice. So for this input, there are 4 peppers that are added: Poblano, Cayenne, Thai, and Poblano. And the total output is the addition of all of these, which is 118,000. So, and you can see the explanation for this. So what we will do is we will solve the same problem using the same setup that we had earlier, which is the Visual Code, and then we had Jupyter Notebook and Python. So for the Java video, we'll make a separate video for Java. So let's look at the setup that we have here. So if you see here, I have Visual Studio Code. So if you see, this basically Visual Studio Code, and I have Jupyter Notebook here. Sorry, just let me rename this. It should be IPython Notebook, IPYNB. It gives us the Python notebook, and you can see the cell appeared here. So let's look at the first. What we need to do is to get the input. So we'll say num peppers. And the way we get the input, we can look at the previous video if you want to know. So what we do is we do the same thing here. We get the input and convert it into an integer. So we got the number of peppers. And the next input, like you see here, is basically once we got the number of peppers, we need to read each pepper. So let's read that. So what we want to do finally is to figure out the total spiciness. So let's make a variable for that and make it 0. Let's add this, and then you say, what we do is we use a simple for loop. So we say for num in num peppers. So we get what is the chili being added, and all we need is the exact name match. So if you see here, it says each pepper will exactly match a name. So we just get that. And in Python, there are multiple ways to solve this problem. So let's look at a simple way to do it. So we just do an if else condition in this. So if chili is equal to, let's take the first one, which is poblano. And you should be careful of writing the exact thing. So do this total spiciness plus equal to, we know it's, instead of doing this, let me do one thing. Let me split my screen so that it becomes easier to look at my left and right. So here we say it's 1500, simple. Then we do a elif, which is basically else. What next? So if the chili is mirasol, again we need to be careful. See, I missed one thing here. Say total spiciness. So plus equal to basically means this is a total spiciness equal to total spiciness plus 6000. So instead of doing that, there's a shortcut is just say plus equal to, and you don't need to type this. Right. Okay, let's go to the next one. So now it becomes obvious. All we need to do is get everything in place. Next is serrano. Again, total spiciness plus equal to 15500. Then we do chili again. This is 40,000. Again, always be careful of what is needed. I call this in the moment coding. So you exactly know you're present in the moment and not you're not typing absent-mindedly. So Thai is 75,000. Let's do that. Chili is equal to habanero. Spiciness 125,000. You could also make it else if you want. But then we don't need to check this. So let's keep it as LF for now. Okay, so we have done all of this. So here you see we're not using num, but yeah, we just want to see how many for the number of peppers that we got. We read each pepper here, and then all we do is to check each type of pepper and add the spiciness totally. At the end of this, all we need to do is to print the total spiciness, right? So let's do a quick recap. So what we did is get the number of peppers first, and then we take a variable called total spiciness. Then for the number of peppers that we have, we run a for loop. Basically, just go over this whole process 4 times, or the number of times that we get number of peppers. 4 for the sample input 1. And then look at the type of pepper that we get, and then compute this. So what we said is we need to be careful about having the exact names, because when we submit the code to judge, the judge is going to give you the same strings that are specified here. Okay, let's try to run all this. So once we run this, it'll ask you to select the Python kernel. So just select Python 3 dot whatever is installed. And now we need, so you see the small box that came up here. All we need to is input whatever is there from here and then put everything on top here. So I said press 4. Interesting, I got an error here. Int object is not iterable. So it's a simple problem. So I need to just say range, do this. So let's retry this. So I press 4 again. Now the second box came up. So I need to put poblano here. Then I put Kenyan. Then I put Thai and poblano. But you can see that I already have poblano stored here in my uh, clipboard history. So I just do that. So all the inputs are entered, and you can see we got the output, which is 118,000, which is exactly what is expected here. So there is a neat feature in VS Code. What we can do is just say import notebook to script. So all I have to do is I had hidden this project pane here, Explorer. So I have to just unhide it, right click on this and say import note to script. What happens is this whole thing will be just turned into a script. So I just have to copy this whole thing and go to dmoj.ca, problem CCC2, so this is CCC23J2, and I'm just going to submit this, paste, and if everything is okay, we should get AC for everything. There you go. We got AC for everything. That's nice. So I'm going to show a little bit more here. So we did this basic thing. Are there other ways to do this? Definitely there are other ways to do this. Let me quickly show you that. So I had solved this problem a little bit earlier to just show you here. So there is another way to do this. Instead of doing if, elif, elif, and so on, you can also do this. So you can see here, all we have to do is to just do something called a match on a pattern and then say, okay, what is my case? So case poblano, do the same thing, case, and so on, right? So the difference is once it matches poblano, it comes here. If it matches Mirasol, it will directly come here. Unlike the if else condition, it has to do first, it has to match poblano. If it is not poblano, then it checks if it's Mirasol. Then if it's Serrano and so on. So it has to execute each of these statements. Whereas in here, all it does is it directly jumps to the correct case straight away. So if it's habanero, it doesn't have to execute all of these. It just goes there directly. That's the difference. So we can also try this. So let's just take the code from here and we can just replace this, right? And we take the whole thing again. Let me go back here, press resubmit, pasted it, submit. You see, we got AC again. AC means accepted. Is this all? Is there some other simpler way to do it? Definitely there is one more. So you can actually see something like this here. So what I've done here is I'll go to the top, add a code here. And if you see what I'm doing here, so I'm having something called a dictionary. So what is a dictionary? It's basically a key value pairs. So if the key is poblano, it gives me the value of 1500. If the key is Mirasol, it gives me the value of 6000. And then all I have to do is just write this piece of code here. So if you see, come back here, add a line of code here, and all I have to do is, so similar to what we did earlier. So if you see, we put the total spiciness here again. So same for loop, same total spiciness. Here, if you see, I'm using the dictionary, and in the dictionary, whatever input I get is the name of the pepper. So I have to just go get the value of the pepper. And the way you do it is put a box bracket and put the string inside and it'll directly give you the value. So let's try that here. Just keep both of these and remove rest of these. Um, Maybe just keep the last print as well. And I just remove this. So come back here. I copy this dictionary here. And then I just copy the loop. Paste it here. So you see, you get the number of peppers, total spiciness, and then put everything in the dictionary. And then just say, this number is not used, so that's still okay. And I get the number of peppers, then do a for loop on them, and then get the value directly from the dictionary. Let's try this. So you see, that's also done. So you see, there are multiple ways to solve this problem, and you see how small the solution can be, right? So I hope you enjoyed this problem solving session. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.